if you understand how each neurotransmitter works and you know how to support that neurotransmitter, you can have a lot of control over your brain. You can push your brain in different directions. You can say, I'm doing this today. I want to optimize this neurotransmitter because that's going to help me with that task.
Welcome to the Rebel Health Coach Podcast with Tom Underwood. Armed with truth and knowledge, your journey to a healthy lifestyle can be obtained. Preventative wellness, quality nourishment, and daily fitness routines dramatically improve your outlook on life as a whole. And you'll find the support and info you need to accomplish a healthier lifestyle here. Together, we can empower each other along our journey to an amazing you.
On today's episode of the Rebel Health Coach Podcast, I am joined by Roy Krebs, the co-founder and CEO of NaturalStacks, an open source supplement company focused on helping consumers improve mood, memory, and focus. Roy's here today to share details about the different ways you can optimize your brain health and performance naturally, as well as answering the most popular questions or concerns about the possible benefits and drawbacks of supplements. He's on a mission to build 1 billion better brains through supplements. He'll share his journey to achieve that goal. Welcome to the Rebel Health Coach Podcast, Roy.
Cheers.
I love your mission statement, man. Better brain and better life.
Yep. Brain controls everything. You know, you can be as strong and fast as you want, but if you don't have your brain health, then you're not shit.
Right. Exactly. Really.
Yep.
And before we dig into NaturalStacks and your company, I'm curious about how you went from playing college football at Colorado College to a sushi chef to becoming a developer of designer supplements for the brain.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild story, right?
Yeah, how did that transition take place, and what drove you to this supplement industry, period? I mean,
yeah, so sure. So I was playing college football at Colorado College. It's a small school, private school. It's Division III, so not like a crazy Division I program. But I loved it because I saw the field. You know, I played every down. I was a starter since I was a freshman. So I really had a great college experience. We didn't win that many games, but you know, I was a part of all of them. And so I was the captain of my team my senior year. And I'm also a martial artist. I've done 2 different martial arts. I have black belts. I've tested out a few other martial arts. And so I was always a kind of a fine-tuned athlete and got a lot of output out of my body. And then after college, I jumped straight into real estate. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My father worked for himself, and I always looked up to that freedom, and I thought that real estate was my path. I got my real estate license while I was in college during the summer. And so right when I graduated, I just jumped straight in. And I was working commercial real estate, doing property management, some brokerage and some things. But my timing was bad. That was 2007, 2008. The market crashed. I wasn't making any money. Very small base salary plus commissions. And so everything was on my shoulders, and there just wasn't many deals to be done. And so I started making sushi really out of desperation. In the mornings, I was working at a hotel, a few hours, just front desk, doing some bookkeeping stuff. And then I was going to my real estate job during the day. And then I started working at this restaurant at night. And it was a sushi place that I had been going into for years. Funny old Japanese guy. You know, we used to go in like after college and you know, go there for like a pre-game, have a good time, have some beers, and get some sushi. And he had a sign on his window that was now hiring. And I went in there, every time I went in there, which was like once every couple of weeks, I would say, Kazu, that was his name. Kazu, why don't you hire me? And he would just kind of laugh it off. But every time I just kept on it. I was like, hey man, I need some extra work. Teach me, you know, let's do it. And he said, no, you know, you've never worked in a restaurant. You don't know how to make sushi. And then finally, he was like, okay. You know, if you really want to do this, I'll teach you, but you're not going to get paid. And once I think you're worthy, I'll start paying you. and so I was like, fine, that works. Let's do it. And so every day after work, I was going to the sushi restaurant and was like his apprentice. And I worked unpaid for about 3 or 4 months until he started paying me a little bit. But yeah, I'm making sushi because I needed an extra job and I thought that would be super cool. And it was cool, but I also learned that I didn't want to work in a restaurant.
Right.
And then as all this was happening, I kind of realized that I needed to make a jump. I needed to make a change. And I couldn't work 3 jobs, all of them not making much money. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I was always thinking of what I could do. And I was actually getting pretty dialed into dietary supplements. And I knew them very well already because I was such an athlete. And so I was looking at different dietary supplement formulas and just thinking, could I pull this off? Could I launch a company? And I never had considered taking a supplement for my brain. That was just kind of a foreign concept. I'm taking everything from my body until my grandfather got diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's. And he started to decline very quickly. And for me, that was very eye-opening and sad and scary. And when I noticed that he was having such a hard time with his brain, not himself anymore, I noticed that myself, I had a little bit of brain fog and I was having some procrastination and my brain wasn't working very great. And so, frankly, I got scared. I played football for 8 years competitively and maybe I banged up my head a little too hard. So that's when I just really became passionate about brain health and brain supplements and trying to figure out what is the best way to optimize your brain in a healthy way to get real results.
That's awesome. I mean, right now we got dementia's on almost doubling. So dementia's on a rise.
Yeah.
I think it's, as of 2015, it was like 47.5 million people worldwide. And they're estimated 2030, I think it's 75 million. So almost doubling.
Yeah, I think the recent Alzheimer's, people with actually diagnosed Alzheimer's, over 40 million in the United States, just the United States.
Right.
And as you said, the rates are becoming a lot higher and a lot faster. And there's no known cure to Alzheimer's yet. There are some things they kind of found might slow it down a little bit. But I personally think it's the biggest health problem of our time.
Right. And people, like you said, people don't supplement for that. We supplement for our bodies. We take vitamin D12 or D. We take a magnesium and fish oil, but we don't think about what's going on in our brains.
I know. It's crazy because, people, even the healthiest people are taking such good care of their bodies, but maybe they're neglecting their brain a little bit and they don't know it until like me, it kind of hit me that, wow, my brain's not functioning all that great. And wow, my family is having some problems with brain health. Then it becomes really serious.
Right.
But yeah, I think for the most part, people don't even quite realize that there's things they can be doing to support their brain health. Rather than just taking antidepressant medication or drinking more coffee. There's a little more you can do.
So we're going to dig into the product line. I kind of want to touch base on your product line. That's the whole reason for this. I wanted you to come on because you have a great product line.
Thank you.
But you're in the industry of supplements. And what I do I'm a functional medicine practitioner, health coach, and supplements are part of my toolbox. Mm-hmm. The problem is the supplement industry leaves little to be desired for a lot of people because people see supplements like you produce and some of the supplements I recommend as a practitioner, and they're expensive. When you go to the grocery store and you see these on the shelf for like half the price.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain to them that stuff's not, because the FDA has no control over what you put in this stuff.
Yeah. The supplement industry has been thriving for 30 years, but it is still the wild, wild west. And there's no regulation, like you said. There's no one. I can release a supplement tomorrow. There's no regulatory body that checks it or lab tests it or reviews the ingredient list or anything like that. I can literally be selling dog food in a capsule,
right?
And I can call it some amino acid, and I'm not going to get caught. Seriously, no one's going to turn me in unless I make someone super sick or there's some horrible side effect. then the FDA might get caught wind of it,
Right.
and they'll do something. But I could literally be selling dog food in a capsule for years before anyone would know.
Right. And charge you $12.95 a bottle.
That's a hot deal, get one free. Yeah, so it's crazy. And so for my job is really educating consumers, because even if you look at something like magnesium, there are dozens of different types of magnesium. And there's just massive differences in absorption rates. So
right.
You get a low quality magnesium, it's not going to do anything to you. It might have some harm. Whereas you get a high quality magnesium, you're actually going to get the full benefits.
Right.
And a consumer's not going to know, because you can get a bottle for $5, you can get one for $50. What are you going to choose? Maybe you're not going to choose the cheapest, but you'll choose one for like $10 that has a nice package on it. But yeah, it requires I think consumers are starting to get more educated and starting to demand more transparency. It's starting to happen, but yeah, it's a slow road.
Well, that's what I admire about NaturalStacks and your company, is that you're an open sourcing company and you do extensive testing on your products with full label disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And look, could you go into this 3-tier approach and why you do this?
Yeah, and thank you for asking, because this is kind of our battle against the shadiness of the supplement industry. When I was looking at supplements in general, I noticed that there was a lot of consumer skepticism. And then when I started looking at brain supplements, I noticed that people were hesitant to try something for their brain. And so people are already scared of supplements in general, and they're hesitant to try something for the brain. So that wasn't a good combination for me, who's trying to sell brain supplements. And our mission is to build a billion better brains. I want to help people. I'm passionate about improving people's brain health. And so how do I get our products into more people's hands? One really basic thing in my eyes was to remove the skepticism. So we created this open source program, 3-tiered approach. One is just full label disclosure. And that's basic, but most companies don't even do that. And what I mean is fully transparent supplement facts panel. There's nothing proprietary. There's no special proprietary formula that then they don't have to tell you the amount of each ingredient. Whereas we tell you the exact amount of each ingredient, the extract percentage. The labeling is super clear because people deserve to know what they're putting in their body. It seems like a human right. And then the next tier is ingredient traceability. We disclose who all of our ingredient suppliers are. Now, this doesn't seem groundbreaking either, but it is in the supplement industry. A lot of our ingredient supplements are commodities, and they fluctuate in price. And most supplement companies don't dictate who their suppliers are. They don't even know where they're getting their stuff, because they rely on their manufacturer to source the ingredients. And they're just going to source the cheapest stuff they can. But we've done extensive research to say, here are the suppliers we want to use in our formula, because they're the most respected, they do the most lab testing, they have the best farming practices for their herbs. And so we use the same suppliers on every single batch. So we have extreme consistency. And then we post all of the suppliers on our website so people know exactly where all the ingredients are coming from. And that's really important. It's traceability on the ingredient side. And then post-production, we're doing third-party lab testing. So manufacturer will always give you a certificate of analysis. And most brands say, great, this is a COA from the manufacturer. Here's what's in my product. But I don't trust that. What if the manufacturer makes a mistake or they use the wrong ingredient or something? So we do third-party lab testing. We send them to Intertech, which is a really large, well-respected lab. Post-production, so after the product's made, they're testing for identity and potency of every ingredient in the formula. And so we have a third-party lab test that we're doing on every single batch. And we post that most recent batch on our website. So a consumer can buy the bottle, can go to our website and actually see the third-party test for the batch that they're taking. Just to prove that, hey, what's on the supplement facts panel is actually what's in that bottle. Here's the third-party test to prove it. And so just those 3 things, we want to give the consumer a level of trust and understanding that NaturalStacks, we're legitimately putting what we say we want to put in there. Here's where it came from. And here's the test to prove it.
That's pretty amazing. And really, you're probably, in my opinion, the only one that does this, because I've never seen a website like yours that has the results of the third batch, results right on your website?
There's only one that I know of, NutraBio.
Okay.
And they do third-party testing on every batch, but they don't do the ingredient traceability.
Okay.
And then there's other companies like Garden of Life who actually grows a lot of their own herbs. They're a massive company. They have all these farms and they're doing ingredient traceability, but then they're not doing the third-party lab testing.
Right.
So really, it's all these things that have to be done to really prove what's in your product.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I admire you for holding this as a staple in your company because it's amazing.
Thank you. It's self-imposed and it's hard. It's expensive to do all this, but it's totally worth it.
But in the end, I mean, when you're dealing, especially when you're dealing with the brain, you want to if you're going to feed your brain good stuff, you want to feed it good stuff.
Yep. I want to know where it's coming from. I want the test to prove it. So it really started, this is what I wanted from a supplement. I was buying a bunch of different supplements and none of them really met my standards. And so this was what we created.
I read, it was when I was preparing for this, I read a quote from Bob Marley. There's a herb for every system, every organ, every gland, every tissue of our body. Mother Nature has put medicine in our food. Now that's going to take me to CellTep right now. This CellTep happens to be your flagship supplement.
Yeah, CillTep, CILTEP.
Yep. CillTep.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So CillTep's a unique formula. The way it works, the formula behind it, what it does in your brain is completely different than any other brain supplement. You've never seen artichoke extract and coleus forscoli together in any supplement, let alone a brain supplement. So yeah, super unique how that one came to be and that really how it works. So when I was starting this company, I tried a bunch of the brain formulas for myself, and there's really two approaches. You have a standalone herb, which is like a ginkgo or a gotu-kola, or there's other brain ingredients like a huperzine A or vinpocetine. But generally, there's like 15 well-known brain ingredients, and they've been around for thousands of years. There's lots of studies, but they're pretty mild. Like you can take one of these ingredients and you're not going to have a profound difference in how you focus or your motivation or something. They work, but it's kind of like take them for a month and you might get some benefit. And for me, I wanted more immediate results. I wanted something I could feel. And then on the flip side, you have these nootropic formulas, and a lot of the big supplement companies have them now. It's just these blends of 10 or 15 ingredients. And what they're doing is basically jumbling up all those ingredients that are supposed to be good for your brain into one formula, no real rhyme or reason. And it's a very scattered approach. You simply can't have one product that does everything in your brain. Your brain doesn't quite work that way. So what I discovered is you want to focus on individual mechanisms or individual metabolic pathways in the brain and just try to optimize one thing at a time. And then you can actually make a difference. So CillTep is a little different because it acts inside of the brain cell. It's designed to improve long-term potentiation, which is the state in which memories are formed, in which this mental engagement and novelty effect happens. So I discovered the formula actually on an online forum. It was longevity.org. This is a forum where people are trying to live forever and they're trying to enhance their cognition. And I saw this guy, Abelard Lindsay, was one of the more famous posters on this forum. And I've got to know him pretty well now, and he legitimately wants to live forever. And so one of the theories of transhumanism is eventually you'll be able to offload your brain and your consciousness onto a computer. And so he wants to make his brain as smart and as capable and as the best memory and the best learning processes possible before he offloads it to a computer. So that's his kind of drive and mission here. And he found some old medical studies that were looking at this drug that was having amazing benefits, but never made it past development because it had some side effects. And he said, well, how do I kind of replicate this drug, but with the natural ingredients that won't have side effects? And this is how CillTep was born, is he found that coleus forscoli, also known as forskolin, is the cyclic CAMP. These are the messenger systems inside the neurons. They're like receptors for neurotransmitters. And he noticed that this one ingredient, Coleus forscholi, can help increase that. And then another ingredient, artichoke extract, can help increase it too by slowing its degradation. So in synergy, you can have a really elevated amount of cyclic AMP, which are the messenger system that allows your brain to be more efficient and communicate more effortlessly. And so, artichoke extract on its own is not going to do much for your brain. Coleus forscholi on its own is not going to do much, but in synergy, it's very powerful. And that's how this product works, is it gives you this sense of engagement. One thing that's unique is that it works on almost everyone within about 30 minutes on the first dose. So it's not something you have to build up in your system or anything like that, but it's a total comfortable feeling. It's not like overwhelming. It's not stimulatory. It doesn't raise your heart rate or your blood pressure. What it does is it gives you this sense of engagement and mental fascination, and that limits distraction and allows you to focus better and create memories. Super interesting. What I say is it induces novelty. Novelty is the sense in your brain where you become very engaged and you're able to retain new memories very easily. Just like if you went on vacation as a child to somewhere that you've never been before, you have vivid memories of that vacation even today. Because when you're experiencing novelty, when you're experiencing something new, your brain is very receptive. It's very easy to create new memories and be engaged with your surroundings. So CILTEP almost creates that novelty feeling on demand where you can take it and you have this mental fascination where you're able to just really be engaged and create new memories. Super interesting product.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I loved it. I mean, I ran out and I'm like, can't wait for my next bottle to get here because it's like,
I'll get you some more, yeah.
Anyway, so one thing I had with this because I just ran out a little bit ago, but I had some crazy vivid dreams when I was on this.
Okay.
Does that happen a lot to people or?
No.
I mean, not crazy, not bad dreams, not bad dreams. Let's clarify that. But like my dreams were vivid.
Yeah, no, I've heard that more with like magnesium and some others, acetylcholine enhancing supplements, but
okay.
It's probably just that connectivity that's happening in your brain is enhanced. So you're able to remember your dreams a little better. Okay. So it's not like you're always having dreams, but if you can remember them, that your brain is really well connected.
I mean, they weren't like bad dreams. They were just, it's just I remembered them more. Of course, I honestly, so I sit here at my desk and study a lot. So my memories increased remarkable, like a whole different clarification. And my day's more organized.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And when I first started taking CILTEP, and I've been taking it now for 6 or 7 years, the first thing that I really noticed was that I was able to read a lot faster. Like I've always had to like read a few pages and flip back. What was that one thing I read? Oh, let me just reference that real quick. When I started taking CILTEP, I never had to turn back the pages. I just kept turning forward. And then, the productivity sense and being able to kind of organize thoughts in your brain is really remarkable. So it's helping with synaptic connectivity. And it's helping your neurotransmitters communicate more effectively.
That's amazing. And artichoke heart, just the combination of the artichoke heart and the
Coleus forscholi,
forscholi.
And we have a patent on the formula because it's so unique. And actually, when we were doing our research, we found that what country? There's this Eastern Bloc country in Europe, and I think it was like Slovenia or Slovakia or one of those. But we found that like hundreds of years ago, they were giving their children an artichoke stew which had sesame in it. Sesame is also a cyclic AMP increaser, just like Coleus forscholi. And in this forum, someone was like, "Oh, this is kind of crazy because my grandma used to make me this artichoke soup before I would go to school, and it had a similar mechanism as CILTEP." It's just pretty crazy.
That is crazy. I read one of the reviews on there, and the guy said from human 1.0 to human 2.0 in under 4 weeks. And I'm like, okay, he's right on. I mean, it does help you get a sharper mind. I mean, who doesn't want a sharper mind? I'm going on. Well, I just turned 60.
Okay.
So at this age, and sitting here devouring information all day, this has really been like he said, from human to 1.0 to 2.0, because it's incredible.
It's really awesome to hear. And we just have amazing testimonials, and it makes my job really rewarding.
Yeah.
And keeps me driving on. We want to build 1 billion better brains. So far, we've done a couple 100,000, I think. So we got a ways to go.
Now let's dig into because basically you started as a brain food company.
Yeah.
So you developed a thing called the brain food box, which has a combination of a lot of foods that feed the neurotransmitters.
Yeah. So to be basic about it, there's 4 main neurotransmitters in the brain. And these neurotransmitters are responsible for how you feel, how you think, how you memorize, how you sleep, how you react with others. Really, your personality and who you are, how you feel at any given time is just defined by the levels of these 4 little chemicals in your brain. So I know that's kind of like a simple way to put it, but it's true. Any emotion or mindset that you have is because these neurotransmitter levels.
Okay.
And if you understand how each neurotransmitter works, and you know how to support that neurotransmitter, you can have a lot of control over your brain. You can push your brain in different directions. You can say, I'm doing this today. I want to optimize this neurotransmitter because that's going to help me with that task. Or I'm feeling this way, so I want to optimize this neurotransmitter so I don't feel that way, so I feel more positive. So the 4 main neurotransmitters are dopamine, acetylcholine, serotonin, and GABA. Dopamine, the first thing is just to understand these 4 neurotransmitters and maybe you understand the deficiencies. So if you're feeling any sort of negative symptom in your brain, it's because of a neurotransmitter level. If you're low in dopamine, you're going to procrastinate. So dopamine is responsible for mental motivation and drive and the reward chemical. So your brain wants to do something, so then it gets the reward. So if you're procrastinating or you're just kind of feeling dull, you can't experience pleasure, you're low in dopamine. Acetylcholine is responsible for mental processing speed and mental clarity, short-term memory. So if you're deficient in acetylcholine, you're going to have trouble remembering that one word, tip of the tongue syndrome, or mentally slow, like some brain fog. Your brain's just not turning as fast as it should. Serotonin, if you become low in serotonin, you're in a shitty mood. And that one's pretty basic. Serotonin is responsible for that happy feeling. And then GABA, if you're low in GABA, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be uptight. You're going to be a little bit anxious and nervous. So if you're feeling any of those things, you can push yourself out of that feeling by improving the production of this specific neurotransmitter. So that's powerful.
Right.
And you can do this. Your neurotransmitter levels are changing almost hour by hour, but definitely day by day based on what you're doing, what you're eating, if you're exercising, your environment. But then also everyone is naturally dominant in a certain neurotransmitter. And that just means your brain metabolizes that neurotransmitter a little better than the others. And that defines their personality. That's why everyone is different. That's why everyone has a different personality, because they have different levels of neurotransmitters in their brain. So super passionate about this. Yeah, it's interesting.
I have a tendency to go for the organic acid test, and when I'm measuring metabolism. The urine test. Yep.
Yeah, so that will tell you the byproducts of the neurotransmitter metabolism. So you're not testing the actual neurotransmitters in your urine, you're testing the metabolites. What was the byproduct? And if you have more byproduct, that's going to show that you're metabolizing more of that neurotransmitter.
Right.
I prefer to use a more qualitative assessment called the Braverman assessment.
Yep.
Dr. Eric Braverman wrote a book called The Edge Effect. And in that book is the Braverman assessment. And you can just Google that. It's readily available online. This is a questionnaire. It's like 200 questions, plus or minus, but true or false type questions. But at the end of that, it will tell you which neurotransmitter you're dominant in and which one you may be deficient in.
That's cool.
But yeah, you don't need any sort of test. You can just be introspective and say, how am I feeling at this time?
You have a little test on your website.
Yeah, we have a little quiz. It's basically a really dumbed down version of the
Braverman
assessment. But yeah, we want to help people understand their own brain chemistry and understand where they might need to help. Now, we do have four products that target each of the four main neurotransmitters in the brain. And I use them all. I know that I'm generally a little bit deficient in dopamine. I've taken the organic acid test. I've taken the Braverman assessment. I've taken it multiple times. And for me, the dopamine product I take every morning because I know I need that little extra boost. And I really feel great when I take it. And if I don't take it, I notice myself procrastinating a little bit. So I lean to that one every day. But then the other ones I take on a regular basis, like 3 days a week, maybe, based on what I'm doing that day or how I'm feeling that day. So I took some acetylcholine brain food this morning because I knew I was doing some podcast interviews. And when I'm doing that, I want to have better verbal fluency and short-term memory. So I want to support that. Same goes with other activities. If you're meditating, take some GABA precursors. If you're going on a hike outside and you're just trying to have a good time, take some serotonin precursors. You're going to help your brain get there a little faster.
Right. Exactly. I love my GABA. GABA is my go-to. I haven't tried yours yet. I ordered, Saturday, I put in an order for this whole box.
Oh, nice. The brain food box. Yeah. And we have a deal now. I don't know if you were able to get it, but trybrainfood.com.
Okay.
We have an intro deal, and it's 21 capsules of each brain food formula. You get all four for half off. And so that's a great chance. If someone wants to try these, trybrainfood.com. You can get a great discount to try them for yourself.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone can utilize all four of them, but most people gravitate towards one or two that they're using on more regular basis. And for you, if you really like the feeling of GABA, maybe naturally you're a little bit deficient in GABA. So naturally you might have a hard time falling asleep. You have some racing thoughts when you get into bed and you're trying to think, what am I doing tomorrow? Or what do I still need to do? So GABA is going to help you calm your brain, slow down, and allow you to fall asleep faster. But it's not just for sleep. GABA can be great in the morning. If I have I wasn't nervous about this, but sometimes if I have a big presentation or something that I'm nervous about, I'll take GABA in the morning because that's going to calm my nerves and allow me to be more normal. So these are really powerful tools that you definitely need to use if you're feeling a negative symptom, because that means you're already deficient.
Right.
Or you want to use them to kind of boost, to improve certain situations or scenarios.
What you were talking about acetylcholine, because that was one of your newer products.
Yeah, so acetylcholine brain food is the product we have. Acetylcholine is responsible for mental processing speed. How fast is your brain working? You can think of it like gasoline for your brain. People that are Alzheimer's or dementia are severely deficient in acetylcholine. They don't have that short-term memory. The brain is working more slowly. They can't connect the dots as well. So if you're feeling brain fog or short-term memory issues, like you can't remember where you put your keys, you can't remember that person's name, you definitely want to be supporting your acetylcholine pathway. And so all of these products that we have are precursors, which are amino acids. These are the building blocks your brain uses to create this neurotransmitter. And we back that up with cofactors. These will be vitamins and minerals. These are the nutrients your brain requires to convert that amino acid into a neurotransmitter. And we also generally have a specialty herb as well. And that herb will help elevate the levels for a little bit longer amount of time, typically.
Okay.
So yeah, very complete formulas to support just the metabolism of that specific neurotransmitter. And, it's a really targeted approach, and it's a little more sophisticated, I would say. It requires a little more education because a lot of supplement companies just had a general mood formula.
Right.
And their mood formulas have precursors to serotonin and GABA and sometimes dopamine all in one formula. And sure, these are all different mood states, but you don't really want all of them at the same time. The feeling of dopamine is a lot different than the feeling of GABA. And, you kind of want to support your dopamine in the morning. You want to support your GABA in the evening. And so putting them all together in one formula just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think you were on Ben Greenfield.
Yeah.
And talked about, you had an analogy of a car.
Okay.
With the brain foods.
Yeah. So acetylcholine will be like the gasoline for the car, whereas GABA will be the brakes for the car. Serotonin will be the alternator, so kind of like keeping you more balanced. And then dopamine, what's dopamine? The accelerator? Trying to think to a car analogy.
I don't remember.
But yeah, dopamine gives you the get up and go. So want that feeling that you want to get out of bed and do something. Okay. That's dopamine. It's the one that I gravitate towards too, because I really like that feeling. You can think of it as like foods too. So like caffeine and chocolate both increase dopamine.
Right.
Alcohol increases GABA. So you can kind of think of it in foods as well.
That's okay, cool. And now you also have some mushroom line, myco mushroom, right?
Yeah. So we do have some additional mushroom products, and one I just really wanted to feature real, organic, full fruiting body, grown on natural birchwood mushrooms, because most of the mushroom supplements are fake, straight up fake. Most of the mushroom supplements on the market are mycelium, which mycelium is adolescent stage of a mushroom. Before it has the full fruiting body, like if you imagine a mushroom and it has a nice cap on the top,
right.
That's the fruiting body. Okay. The mycelium is an adolescent stage before it's even done that.
Okay.
And so most mushroom supplements are mycelium that are grown on grain, such as brown rice or oats. Now they do this because mushrooms are really hard to cultivate and they take a long time to make. But if you grow them in a lab on some substrate that's easy to work with, like a rice bran powder or an oats, you can grow these adolescent stage mycelium very quickly and efficiently, and you can harvest the mycelium and then grow it again, and it's a lot faster. The problem is this mycelium is like only has a fraction of the active compounds that you actually want in this mushroom. Why you're taking the mushroom supplement is because the mushrooms have these amazing medicinal compounds inside them. Mycelium has much less because mycelium tested out to be like 30-35% starch. Starch because they're getting it from what they're grown on, such as an oat or a rice. Mushrooms in nature grow on decaying wood.
Right.
And they should test out to less than 5% starch, the finished product. So that was one thing that I really wanted to harp on when I was creating our products is I wanted to use real mushrooms, which means they'd gone through the full fruiting body process and they were grown on wood. And so we're using real organic fruiting body mushrooms, and then we're combining them with other powerful nutraceuticals. So we have a myco boost, which is organic cordyceps mushroom that's combined with yerba mate extract.
Okay.
Super synergistic. Yerba mate gives you that more of a vitality feeling. It's energizing, but not like caffeine. It's kind of like a full body energy. And same with the cordyceps mushroom. Cordyceps is known for endurance. So I take this one pretty much every day. And for me, it's just a different boost that's different than caffeine or dopamine. It's more of like a full body high that you just feel good. You feel energized. And then we have a myco mind, which is organic lion's mane mushroom combined with bio-PQQ. So this is our mitochondrial support enhancer. So lion's mane mushroom increases nerve growth factor. It makes more neurons in your brain, and it helps the mitochondrial health. So it's a great one to take. I like to think of that as like kind of a multivitamin for your brain.
Okay.
So you typically don't feel like an immediate benefit, but it's something that you're maintaining in your brain health. Whereas the other ones, the brain food formulas, those ones typically people feel working within about 30 minutes on the first dose because they're so targeted.
Okay. Yeah, I love I've been using the powder for my coffee, but I'm going to definitely give these a try for sure because I love my mushrooms.
Yeah.
And honestly, ever since I've been taking them, I haven't been very rarely get sick.
Which mushrooms are you taking?
I was taking one from Four Sigmatic.
Yep.
It's a powder with a 10 blend. So it had 10 different blends. I just put a little teaspoon in my coffee in the morning and stir it up.
Four Sigmatic's a great company. I've met the founders a couple times, and they are using real organic.
Right.
mushrooms. And it's a rarity. Most supplement companies are using this mycelium, which is a fake mushroom.
Okay. So check for that if you're going to buy a mushroom blend.
Yeah. So sometimes you won't even see it. You have to look at a supplement facts panel. You got to look at the other ingredients. And if it says like myceliated brown rice or something like that, it's mycelium.
Okay.
So you don't really want to see that word mycelium. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not going to hurt you. It's just not as powerful as a real mushroom.
Okay. And now for a little general housekeeping. If you are enjoying this episode, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would go to whatever app you are listening to this on and rate and review the show and share it with your friends. Thank you very much. Now, if you've been listening to my episodes for the last couple of years, you'll know that I key on gut health quite frequently in my episodes because honestly, gut health is king. And pretty much all disease begins in the gut, as Hippocrates said back in 420 BC. So that's a reason I key on gut health quite frequently, because if you're trying to do something simple as just lose weight, your gut health is key. So I have been developing a gut health cheat sheet over the last few months for you to download. And you can obtain this gut health cheat sheet by texting the word gut health, 2 words, gut health, to 773-770-4377. Again, gut health to 773-770-4377. Thank you, and I hope you continue to enjoy this episode and make it a great day. Then you have a line of probiotics, which I really like because it's the brain and the gut pretty much go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. You got one probiotic.
Have a healthy gut to have a healthy brain. So
exactly. We have a product called Brain Biotic, which is 4 specific probiotic strains to support brain health. And this was a fun one to develop. And I was doing a lot of research in probiotics in general. And I noticed that people kind of have this thought that a probiotic's a probiotic, and they don't look at the individual strains. But there are hundreds or thousands of different probiotic strains, and each one does something different. Each one reacts differently in the gut. And you're starting to see it just over the last couple of years, some differentiation in the brain health set. You'll see now there's probiotics that are good for digestion, probiotics that are good for diarrhea, probiotics that are good for men's health, women's health, hair growth, metabolism, weight loss. There are specific strains that are good for these specific outcomes. So not all probiotic strains are the same. And that's something that I think people need to realize. And so the other thing is that more is not better. And you'll see these companies, they're saying like 400 billion CFU per capsule, 200 billion CFU per capsule. I even saw one that I don't know if it was a joke or if it was real, but it had 1 trillion CFU per capsule. And the effective dose of most strains is just 1 billion CFU. You never need to take more than like 10 billion CFU unless you're coming off antibiotics or have some serious issue that you're trying to correct. So that's a scam. Companies, that's just a marketing plan.
Right.
And companies that are doing this more is better thing, like 200 billion CFU per capsule, they're using cheap strains. They have to. The biggest offender is Lactobacillus cassia. This is a strain that is pretty neutral in terms of gut health. In some people, it actually causes histamines and some overgrowth. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a nasty probiotic strain. But if you look at these products that have these high claims, I guarantee it's number 1 or number 2 because it's super cheap. And probiotics, almost all of them are proprietary too. So there's here's our probiotic blend of 20 different probiotic strains. Generally, it's like those top 3 or 4, 90% of that formula. And so you don't want to have something that has Lactobacillus cassia. Just throw that one out. It's not doing much for you. Our product has 6 billion CFU per capsule per serving.
Okay.
Fully effective dose. And we have very specific strains. If we had 200 billion CFU in our product, it would probably cost you $300 because we're using these specialty, really high quality strains. Two of them come from Canada, from Lehman, Lactobacillus helvictis and long gum. And those two together have human studies showing their ability to improve mood and relieve stress. And they did a cool study on students showing that they were able to lower their stress levels, which then allowed them to get better grades on their tests. And then we also have Lactobacillus plantarum, which is good for short-term memory. And then we have brevis, which is good for BDNF production, that mitochondrial health. And we have people that are taking our probiotics and saying that it cleared their brain fog within a couple of weeks, which is super cool, super cool. And the studies, there's more and more studies coming out relating probiotics to brain health. But yeah, being able to take these cultures, these little bugs, and let them just do their magic in the gut to improve your brain health. It's a really cool concept.
I mean, the gut's your second brain.
Yep. The vagus nerve connects it all. A lot of serotonin and a lot of GABA is produced in your gut. And so these 4 strains are the 4 probiotic strains that we identified having the best impact on brain health.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. Matter of fact, that's a great looking blend of probiotics there. Also, like you said, a label, when they say all those fancy, I like to tell my clients when they tell me, hey, Tom, I found this one at the grocery store for like $10 cheaper than what you've been selling me.
Yeah.
Like, where's it? And I'm like, it's like when you go to a package to see low fat, you got to dig deeper in the package.
Yeah. Why is that low fat? Maybe milk is not supposed to be low fat. You know,
it's like, really? Yeah. I was like, okay. Yeah. Marketers are good, man. Marketers are good at that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the supplement world. You know, a lot of it is relying on, bikinis and big curves, or small curves, and just playing on your emotions there. And that's what I think kind of got some bad name in the supplement industry in general, is just all these weight loss and workout stuff, which just becomes super cheesy, and the marketing is it's not related to science.
Right. I love, I don't even go down that rabbit hole about diet pills and weight loss and those beautiful models. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go. I love a lot of all these, but vitamin D3 with coconut oil is one that stuck out to me, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. It's actually a hormone. Yeah.
And so, a lot of people don't realize there's fat soluble vitamins and there's water soluble vitamins. So anything that's water soluble, which will be most of our products, like the neurotransmitter, the brain food products, Siltab, these are all water soluble nutrients. And so you're generally going to get them out of your system within 24 hours or less, or like 12 hours. The fat soluble nutrients, they're stored in your fat and they stay in your system for quite a lot longer. But to be able to absorb them, you typically have to take it with a fat source or with some food, is what, people say, take the supplement with food or take the supplement without food. That recommendation is typically related to if there's fat soluble or water soluble nutrients in that supplement. So most of our supplements, we actually recommend taking on an empty stomach, because these are water soluble nutrients and they're going to be absorbed a little faster. Whereas vitamin D, people generally recommend taking it with food, because you need to have some fats to be able to absorb it. Now, what we did is we just combined it with organic coconut oil, and no one else was doing that. It seemed like, okay, well, you have this fat soluble nutrient, you need fat to absorb it. Let's just combine it with some really high quality fats, and boom, you're going to get the benefits a little faster and more efficiently. And so, that one's super simple. We have 500 IUs, which is a high dose of vitamin D, a little bit higher than what the FDA recommends. And we're combining that with organic coconut oil so that you can get the full usage of it. You're actually absorbing it.
Yeah, because you also don't want to overdose on vitamin D unless you're going to take some K2.
Yep. You don't want to overdose on D. You definitely don't need to take more than 1 serving per day. I generally only take it, I take it every day in the winter. I live in Seattle, so we don't get much sun in the winter. Right. And then in the summer, I'll take it just a few days a week, and because I know I'm getting more sun exposure.
Another one that stuck out to me right off the bat when I went to your website to prep for this was that you have a immune system powerhouse going on right here with the vitamin C and the zinc.
Yeah. So first of all, it's vitamin C. is kind of this miracle supplement that people just disregard almost. Vitamin C can ward off a lot of just general sickness, and that could just be a cold or a flu. But taking it further, vitamin C can actually, help prevent some more serious problems and that you're having. So vitamin C, ascorbic acid is really important. When I was sourcing a high quality vitamin C, I found that most of this stuff is chemically synthesized in a lab, ascorbic acid.
Right.
And so I wanted to find a high quality source, and we found this. We get our vitamin C from Scotland, and they're using a non-GMO corn as the source that they're extracting the ascorbic acid.
Okay.
So our product, you're getting a non-GMO natural source of vitamin C, opposed to other companies are selling basically a synthetic made in lab ascorbic acid, which can be a little harsher on your gut. People say you want to take like a buffered vitamin C or something that's coated, and it's just because the vitamin C is kind of harsh. Ascorbic acid's a little bit acidic and can be harsh on your gut. So this natural form that we found that comes from corn is actually really well accepted in most people. And so we combined that with zinc, and we use zinc glycinate, which is a fully chelated, which means it's very bioavailable type of zinc. And there's just so many robust human studies showing that vitamin C plus zinc together equals much better immune protection than just C or just zinc. So it's kind of just a no-brainer combination there.
Right, exactly. And for the guys, you need that zinc.
Yep.
Everybody needs zinc.
But testosterone and hormone production as well.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
And just like magnesium, a lot of people are deficient in zinc. And
absolutely.
They don't quite realize it. Minerals in general are hard to get into your system.
Well, it's because our food supply is so depleted of actually the minerals that we need.
Yep. So that's what especially magnesium, I think, is the biggest deficiency that people face.
Yeah.
And magnesium comes from green leafy vegetables. So the first problem is people don't eat enough of those. And the second problem is even if you do, the soils are generally very depleted of the natural minerals that they used to have. And also your gut is really poor at absorbing minerals. So transdermal through the skin is the best way to get minerals into your system. And for magnesium, that would be an Epsom salt bath or magnesium lotion.
Right.
If you're going to take it through your gut orally, you have to have a chelated version, which means it's bound to an amino acid. Because your body's really good at absorbing amino acids. This is natural. All of your foods are made of amino acids. And so if you can bind the magnesium molecule to an amino acid, that's called chelation. And that allows for a much better absorption. So you want to look for a magnesium supplement that ends in ATE. That means it's been chelated.
Okay.
Like a magnesium glycinate or magnesium taurate, magnesium threonate. That means it's fully chelated, and that's the kind you want. So you want to avoid something that ends in an IDE, like magnesium oxide. That is not chelated, and that is really poorly absorbed.
Okay. That's a good little key there.
Yeah. Like I said, the consumer education is a little bit behind. So we really have to do the best that we can to.
I really like this blend. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, you got a brain blend. You got the brain blend. You got the glycinate in there. Yeah. So we say it's a fully complete magnesium complex. And all the other supplements, I thought it was kind of odd. No one combines different types of magnesium. They just do a single magnesium source. Whereas ours, we have magnesium threonate, which is also known as magtine. And this is the first kind of magnesium that's been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier and actually have significant effects on cognition and synapse density. And then we combined that with magnesium taurate for muscle health and muscle recovery. And then plus magnesium glycinate, which is good for sleep and relaxation. So magnesium taurate is simply magnesium that's been bound to taurine. Okay.
Taurine's an amino acid that you may have heard of. Taurine is great for muscle health, heart health. And so when you combine magnesium taurate, you're not only are you making the magnesium more bioavailable and easier absorbed, but you're also getting the benefits of the taurine. And then same goes with magnesium glycinate, is magnesium that's been bound to glycine. Glycine's a great amino acid that's calming. It helps increase the GABA in your brain. So if you combine the two, you get both the benefits and it's better absorbed. So that's how we framed this product, as fully complete complex: magnesium threonate for the brain, magnesium taurate for the body, magnesium glycinate for calmness and sleep.
I was going to say, if you combine these two together like an hour before bed, you'll sleep like a rock.
Yeah, that's the biggest benefit that we hear from people taking our magnesium, is that people don't think of magnesium as a sleep supplement, but really it's the best one you can take. Yeah, most people are deficient, and if you're deficient in magnesium, you're going to have trouble falling asleep.
Yeah, so I think statistics were like 87% people of the United States are deficient in magnesium.
I think that's elderly folks. So I know that more than 50% of adults are deficient. But then when you look at elderly adults, it's closer to like 80, 85.
When I get blood labs back, I see like if I was to go back through my blood labs of clients over the last couple of years, I would venture to guess it's probably 89% of my clients have had, deficiency because they don't even know it.
I know. It starts off, magnesium deficiency, you probably won't notice it for a while, but it starts off, you can get some fatigue, you can have some trouble sleeping, some restlessness, some like muscle soreness and muscle tightness is kind of where it starts. But then the problems get worse. It can lead to mood issues because it's one of the cofactors in serotonin production. So if you don't have magnesium, you can't produce serotonin very efficiently. And then taking it further, it leads to heart issues. Your heart needs magnesium to beat. And so if you're deficient for years and years and years on end, it can lead to heart problems.
You also you need a lot of magnesium to actually process some of the other supplements too, like vitamin D.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, there's a balance there of the minerals. Yeah, it's responsible for really so many different things in the body, and it's unfortunate that so many people are deficient.
One thing, what I didn't ask about, and a lot of people ask me about, is why is it called a stack, NaturalStacks?
Sure. So a stack is just simply a combination of ingredients that work in synergy for one goal. It's a very basic way to put it. When we were starting the company, brain supplements were still pretty new. There were only a couple brain supplements on the market, and the hardcore nootropic users that were in these forums and like trying out these different combinations for themselves were calling them nootropic stacks.
Okay.
And that comes from an old bodybuilding term of a stack. They used to call it a testosterone stack or a pre-workout stack.
Right.
And that just meant stacking multiple ingredients together in a formula.
Right.
And that's all it means. So when we were creating this company, we said, let's a stack. Let's do a brain stack. And everything we do is all natural, so nothing synthetic. We make sure to source only natural ingredients. So we call that NaturalStacks.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. You don't do the sourcing anymore, do you? Or do you still play a little bit in that?
We have a team, but I am still very involved in sourcing. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's the most important thing. And that's kind of my mindset, is I'm an operational supply chain product type thinker. And that I want to make sure the product is exactly how I would want it, how I'm taking it. And that means super premium ingredients, very transparent, and most importantly, results. It's going to work. And
your pricing is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think our prices are a little bit higher than just run-of-the-mill grocery store products, and I know that, but it's because we're using these super high-quality ingredients in the sourcing. All of these supplements are not cheap. And so, yeah, our profit margins, I know, are less than a lot of our competitors because they're charging similar prices and they're using much shittier ingredients.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I try to make the prices as competitive as we can.
And you have.
Because I legitimately want to help as many people as we can. So price point is a sticking point for a lot of people. And so we want to make that less of the barriers we can.
And I don't. Yeah, they're very reasonable.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad that you see that, because I do get some pushback that it's expensive stuff, and it's like, well, dig deep and see what it's actually made of.
And you got it all. They don't have to go very far. You don't have to dig very deep on your website.
Yeah,
because it's all there.
Thank you.
I love it. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with that we didn't touch on?
I think when you're just starting off and you're like, okay, I want to improve my brain, I think you have to be very introspective. And it's not just, my brain's not working great today, or I'm having an off day. You have to take it a step further and say, okay, what is it about your brain that's not working? Is it the ability to concentrate? Or is it the ability to memorize? Or is it your mood? Or is it your ability to calm down and relax? Because all these are very different. And once you know that, then you can support certain neurotransmitters and you can try to fix that problem that you're having. But if you're just saying, oh, my brain's not working today, that's not, you can't fix that, So you have to take it really a step or two steps further and say, how actually am I feeling? How is this impacting my day? So maybe you're not reading or writing as fast, or maybe you're having trouble getting out of bed, or maybe you're just not wanting to talk to people. But it's just, you want to understand what those things are rather than just saying, my brain's not working great. So being as introspective as you can, which will allow you to find the right solutions to help yourself.
Awesome. If you go, I'm going to put all the links to the show notes, including the test for
the Braverman assessment.
Braverman, yeah.
I definitely recommend that. And then our general website is naturalstacks.com.
Stacks, right.
And then, like I said, if someone wanted to try these brain food, the neurotransmitter support products, try all 4, then try brainfood.com.
Okay. Try brainfood.com. I got to write that down too.
Trybrainfood.com is our intro offer. Someone can get an amazing deal just to try these 4 for themselves and kind of figure out how they work, maybe which ones they gravitate to. Like I said, for me, I take the dopamine every day, but I also take all the other ones on a regular basis. It's just more on demand. It's more based on what I'm doing that day or how I'm feeling.
I usually take Friday and Saturday and Sunday off.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it whenever you want.
Yeah. It's good. I normally say that with all of our supplements. Take them about 5 days a week. You want to give your brain off, so your brain's not totally accustomed to having all these nutrients available all the time.
Now, I also will have a link to your website on there, and if you use the code word REBEL,
okay, yeah,
you'll save some money there too. So,
yeah, let's definitely do that. So REBEL, and that could be lowercase or uppercase, should work.
Yep.
Naturalstacks.com. You'll see the code there pop up at checkout.
Yeah, she sent it to me last week.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So I'm set to go there.
Awesome.
One last question, and this has nothing to do with supplements, football, or a realtor or sushi.
Okay.
If you were to take 30, 40 minutes to chill, what album or artist would you sit and listen to?
Oh, I guess it depends what kind of chilling I'm doing. So a couple artists that I really enjoy. Classics is one of them. So Classics, spelled with 2 X's at the end.
Okay.
It's just kind of like feel good weekend, crack open a beer or a lemonade or whatever you're drinking. I really enjoy that. So it's kind of like, it's chill music, but it has a little bit of upbeat kind of feel good situation. So yeah, that's one of my go-tos. That, or like Beat Connection is another band that I like. Beat Connection.
That's an interesting name.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
What about you?
I usually play jazz in the background all day. And then if I'm going to do something outside, I'll listen to something a little bit more,
Yeah.
But my spectrum is variety, but my go-to would probably be Steely Dan.
Oh, nice. I like Steely Dan a lot. And jazz too is interesting. I never used to listen to jazz until my wife got pregnant.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was like a nesting hormone thing or something, but I literally started listening to jazz like right when that happened. And I listened to a little bit of jazz on my commute. And basically every day I start the mornings with jazz. I like to start like with really kind of calm music. But yeah, jazz, I enjoy jazz as well.
You're in a pretty metropolitan cities. I know they have like a lot of jazz and some good jazz bars there too, I think.
Yeah, I went to one. It's been a little while, but 2 years ago I went to this great jazz club. I forget the name, but it's right downtown Seattle. And
yeah,
cool scene there for sure.
Yeah, and then you're from Colorado originally, so that's like you got a whole variety of music out there.
California originally.
California, sorry.
And yeah, I mean, my dad tells a story how he broke into the Monterey Pop Festival when he was like 14. And, yeah, my parents were always big on music.
Yeah.
So I always grew up listening to music, and that was mostly either classic rock or reggae.
Okay.
And then, music's a big part of my life for sure.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for popping on here with me. I appreciate it. And I'm so grateful for that. And I know you got a busy schedule, and I'm a little man on a totem pole here, especially in the podcast world. I'm like a little fish swimming in a huge pond of wellness people.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was great. I really enjoyed it. And this was a great conversation. If anyone wants to learn more or wants to just reach out to me, Roy at naturalstacks.com is my direct email.
Okay, awesome.
You
answer emails too.
I do, yeah. I try to.
Okay.
Hit me up, Roy at naturalstacks.com.
Cool. All right, thank you very much.
All right, cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for joining in today with the Rebel Health Coach, Tom Underwood. And be sure to subscribe to the show so you can catch all the episodes. With desire and commitment, you can implement a lifestyle of wellness and fitness. For the support, encouragement, and tools you need to be successful, visit tomunderwood.net.